Mike Carter, our White House correspondent, joining us live from the grounds of the White House with more. Mike.
Yeah, guys, good morning. Today, President Trump has a very important decision to make that could very well alter how quickly a ceasefire deal can be struck between Russia and Ukraine. Of course, today, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, who will meet with President Trump at the White House today for the third time since January, coming here to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue this afternoon. Zelenskyy says he wants the U.S. to provide long-range Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, missiles capable of striking deep into Russia. Zelenskyy's meeting with Trump comes one day after the president spoke for more than 2 hours by phone with Vladimir Putin. The two men agreeing that high-level ceasefire negotiations led by Marco Rubio could begin as early as next week, with a potential Trump-Putin meeting in Hungary taking place after those talks conclude.
The president feels like great progress was made on this call. They also agreed to have a high-level senior staff meeting convened as early as next week, which will then be followed by a meeting very likely between President Trump and President Putin as well. They talked about Budapest as being a location for that. So as you all know, President Zelenskyy is coming to the White House tomorrow, so these discussions will continue.
President Trump saying about his phone call with Putin, "I actually believe that the success in the Middle East will help in our negotiation in attaining an end to the war with Russia-Ukraine. I believe great progress was made with today's telephone conversation." Well, President Zelenskyy says the Kremlin is now rushing to restart dialogue with President Trump following Zelenskyy's ask for these Tomahawk missiles. Zelenskyy on X writing, "Therefore, every defense system for Ukraine matters. It saves lives. Every decision that can strengthen us brings the end of the war closer. Security can be guaranteed if everything we have agreed on, including here in Washington, is implemented." Well, right now, Ukraine is primarily using the UK's donated Storm Shadow missile with a range of a little more than 150 miles with a limited capability to change its course. Zelenskyy, he wants Trump to supply Ukraine with Tomahawks that have a range of 1,000 miles that can change course almost up to the point of impact, allowing Ukraine to penetrate deeper into Russia. Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev says supplying Ukraine with Tomahawks could be a red line for Russia, saying it's impossible to distinguish a nuclear Tomahawk missile from a conventional one in flight. The delivery of these missiles could end badly for everyone, and most of all, for Trump himself. Well, Vladimir Putin apparently did downplay President Trump's request, or at least his ask from Zelenskyy to use these Tomahawk missiles, saying, "Please don't do that." So we'll see what President Trump has to say later this afternoon. Speaking to reporters in the Oval Office yesterday, the president did seem to downplay the use of supplying Ukraine with these missiles, saying we need Tomahawks for the United States of America, too. We have a lot of them, but we need them. We can't deplete them for our country. Volodymyr Zelenskyy is set to arrive here at the White House 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, could be a game changer. These Tomahawk missiles can fly more than 1,000 miles at a speed of 550 miles per hour. When you're talking about giving this arsenal, if you will, over to Ukraine, this really bolsters how aggressive really Ukraine can be. We're going to talk about that, break that down, what that means for Ukraine, for Russia, and the United States, most importantly here, coming up on National Report. Mike Carter joining us. Mike, thanks so much.
We Mike.
Appreciate that.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.